Thank you so much for tuning in. Before we get started, I just want to tell you a little bit about Redmen Plus. The show will be starting in 15 seconds. Time me if you want. If you sign up as a Club Legend level subscriber, you get loads of content, loads of benefits, but one of the ones that is particularly popular is the 2 free items of merch every single season. Anything from our store. 15 seconds has got to be up. Onto your show.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen podcast. We are here to chat all things Liverpool Football Club. I am Paul Machin. I'm joined by Saskia Jade and by Chris Pajak as well. We're going to talk Merseyside derby and all the horrible stuff that happened before it as well, because I want to get it off our chests. We're going to look back to last week. I've not really had a chance to discuss Art and Mello joining, all the Moises Caicedo meltdowns as well, and a little bit ahead to Napoli and beyond. We're also going to be doing podcast extra this week with Saskia. For those who already know a profession, then we're going to have a good fun over on that show over on Redmen Plus later on as well, so make sure you tune in for that one. Right, kick-off question. Which Liverpool player would you love to have to isolate with, and which one do you think would do your head in, Saskia?
Okay, as much as I would love the whole team.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Milner.
You would love to isolate with James Milner?
Yeah.
Would you care to elaborate on that point?
Right. So, one, I think he'd keep me, fit. He'd be working out, go work out, right? Yeah. So I feel like it'd be good for me. But then, he's also very funny. I find his humour very funny.
Yeah.
And he gives, daddy vibes.
Okay.
So.
The James Milner stuff, I think I'd not really considered him for that, because you need someone to keep you on track, because what everyone did in lockdown was just fucking eat and basically make a mess of their own lives, and James Milner seemed to get younger in that time. And I like the idea that, would that do your head in after a while, of him being like, oh, I'm getting up and having another exercise? You're like, James, mate, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, go back to sleep.
Fuck off. You know what I mean?
We're doing the lactate test again, boys.
I'll be slipping vodka in his Ribena at night to keep him in bed in the morning. There's absolutely no chance of getting up at 4 a.m. to do a workout with him.
Yeah.
No way. Yeah. Not a chance. And also, I'm not getting the daddy vibes because he's younger than me by a few years as well, which is a little bit good.
It's on the beard thing though. He looks more commanding these days. I think.
Well, he definitely looks more commanding than me. I never debated that. I just said I'm not getting the daddy vibes. Okay. There's a complete difference.
Anyone in the Liverpool squad?
That.
Did you get the daddy vibes? Or?
No, not really.
Yeah.
He's not really in the squad though, is he? I mean, Robbo, the one for me, is the player that I'm isolating with, because...
Oh, I thought he was going to say gives you daddy vibes. I was like...
No, he's half the age. No, he's not. He's only 15 years younger than me, give or take, Robbo. I'm going with Robbo, definitely. He just looks like he has fun, doesn't he? You see him in those videos with Trent Alexander-Arnold and stuff like that, and he's always keeping everyone on their toes and stuff, and, it might get annoying him switching your toothpaste out with bleach at times, but, you got to live.
Yeah, absolutely. I reckon... Joel Matip.
Okay.
Interesting.
Bit of physical comedy. I'm a big fan. I reckon he walks into things all the time. You know what I mean?
He bangs his head on door
frames.
frames.
He bangs his head and all. I'm a big fan. It's one of the reasons why I'm a terrible human being. And you've witnessed this first time.
One of many.
Years, plenty. Yeah. All right. We've got all time. That's a podcast in and of itself. But like people hating themselves, love it. I'm here for it all day long.
I mean, you are the lad that points and laughs at his kids when they fall over.
You fell over. Hey. It makes they bounce up again quicker. I am the lad who my cousin fell down a pothole playing footy and broke his ankle. I ran over and roared with laughter in his face, and he went, "Yes, Paul, it's very funny, but I think it's broken." Which, do you think that made me laugh more or less? Much more. So yeah, I think Joel Matip, for the physical comedy value of it all, I imagine he probably keeps to himself a lot. I don't like to be bothered. I think he'll just get on with his own stuff. And every now and again, he'll just walk into a kitchen cabinet and I'll just be like on the floor. I could live with that. Who would do your head in?
This is hard, but I feel like I'd have to pick. Oh my gosh, I don't know.
I'm concerned with the more flamboyant members of our squad. Like, I think Kostas Tsimikas would grate on me pretty quickly. Like, he looks like a fun lad, and I imagine, like, because like Mo loves him. He loves a bit of like a character around him, doesn't he? As his Bezzy mate, he had Dejan for a bit, but he doesn't have to spend all that time with him. I think after a while, it's like, mate, just fucking sit down and shut up, will you? Just fucking, we're gonna watch the telly for a bit, Kostas. Stop like cartwheeling. It's too much. Put the charity shield down, mate. We're not playing nights anymore. Yeah.
I think I'd say Nunez.
You wouldn't. He would do your head in.
Right. I think he's just a very passionate
person.
Concerned
that, like,
I think we'd butt heads. I feel like we'd like be arguing, and it'd be great for like some things, but yeah, like, just.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned.
I'd go with Nunez as well, you know.
Really?
Yeah, mainly from the fact that I haven't had difficulties in France. When I went to France on my summer holiday and stuff, and one of the wheels blew out on the car, so I don't really speak enough French to be able to sort that issue out in the garage. That I got really annoyed with Google Translate over just a small spell of time in 4 garages. The fact that he speaks absolutely no English and is walking around looking like that would piss me off enough. But then I'd have to use Google Translate.
Put a shirt on, Darwin!
Yeah.
Put a shirt on! And it's too much.
I would know the Portuguese for that by the end of the day. But, like, I don't need to know that in my life.
Pick your hair out of the bathroom sink.
Fuck's sake. Like, I moved out with my wife for this.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Yeah, I don't know. It might... He's such an attractive man, though, that like it might facilitate a major lifestyle change if I was put in that close proximity to him for that long. So I have to be careful with that. Who's yours? Nunez. Just Darwin. And you're both picking Darwin. Nunez is the person you couldn't isolate with. Bobby Firmino, would you be fine with Bobby Firmino? You don't think his antics would get tiresome after a while?
I like listening to the piano. Nice.
Actually saying that, yeah, he could like serenade you with I think the one song that he knows how to play.
He can play the piano. I can sing.
Match made in
Perfect.
heaven. Yeah, there you go. Who would
Sorry,
you?
James.
Yes.
For Bobby Firmino already.
I reckon that's Milner in a nutshell. That isn't it? Is that more interested and supposedly talented players come along and everyone's like, it's like that the meme of like the guy looking over the shoulder. James Milner's there. He's there for you every day. He's keeping you in shape. He's cooking your dinners. And you're like, ooh, look, Bobby Firmino can play the piano. Fucking gone. Poor old Millie. Absolutely ridiculous. Let us know in the comments if you're live here on YouTube. Who would you like to isolate with? I think we get an isolation question because eventually it's already not really a thing anymore, is it? But I did, yeah. Hopefully we'll never have to talk about these things ever again. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Hosh is saying pray 4 times a day with Alison every day and play gospel music every waking hour. Is that? You'd be very spiritual with the Brazilian boys, wouldn't you? Alison is another one to keep you on the straight and narrow, I think. I don't know.
You'd have to drink. What's that drink? Do you drink matcha?
Whatever.
Yeah, you'd have to drink a lot of that.
I
with
love
them,
matcha.
Is it nice?
Yeah, it's nice if like oat milk and that.
Is it? Yeah. Is that's the one they have in there, like the funky glasses and the funky like metal cups.
You don't have to have it in one, but yeah.
But they're always carrying it around, aren't they, with like the sippy straw like a baby? You know, and I think fucking.
Yeah. But Bobby's just got a curly straw.
Just like, come on, man, leave your tubby alone. It's fine. You're 30 years old.
Yeah. Josh McConnell here saying, I think Robbo would be on my vibe. Yeah, absolutely. Ali can cook me a steak, says Kahid. Yeah. I think that's mate. It is not matcha apparently. Mate. Yeah. I'd be up for that. I want to taste that. The Brazilians are mad for it. Genuinely mad for it.
But it's even like Messi and Ronaldo started to drink it and everything. It went massive a few years ago, didn't it? It came over from the South Americans, I believe. There you go. I knew that, but I didn't know what it's called. Yeah.
Right. We're going to take a short break and we're going to be discussing the Merseyside derby and beyond, so make sure you stay tuned. If you've got any questions or whatever you want to get in for us, then please do feel free to do that. We'll be back very, very shortly.
Hello, you wonderful people. How would you like to get your hands on this amazing prize? It's a framed, signed shirt, autographed by 2 icons of Liverpool Football Club, Steve McMahon and Ronnie Whelan. Yeah, absolutely fantastic prize. And you can get your name in the hat to win that simply by being a Redmen Plus Club Legend subscriber. Yes, join Redmen Plus as a Club Legend, which is the highest tier of our subscription service. Not only do you get access to all the amazing content, you also get bonus perks, one of which, of course, course, is access into this monthly prize draw. We give tons of amazing prizes away already this year. Signed shirts by current Liverpool players, legends of the game as well. And yes, the latest one is by two fellas who won plenty of trophies for Liverpool. If you're a Redmen Plus club captain, simply go to the homepage on the website and upgrade to Club Legends. If you've never joined us before, get yourselves involved. redmenplus.com, sign up as a Club Legend and make sure you're in the draw for this amazing September prize. See you later.
Yes, join up as a Club Legend over at redmenplus.com, get entered into incredible prize draws each and every month, and get access to our Discord, which is where we ask for questions for Podcast Extra each and every week. We've got some absolute belters coming up. Just so if for a preview of the show, Danny M asked us if you were able to find out how you would die, but not when would you. We're going to be answering that one on Podcast Extra a bit later on after this one. Right, let's talk Merseyside derby. Before we get into it, I want to talk about the murals being defaced. Before, obviously, Chris and I were walking up to Hotel Anfield before the game and saw it. It's all been cleaned up now. Mayor Walls actually went down and sorted out. So a big shout out to Mark and the boys for sorting that, of course. But it's just another example, Chris. Like Ped's been quite vocal on this, which I think is good, as obviously a staunch Evertonian that he is. There's no defending it. I don't like the idea that all Evertonians get tarnished with it, but it is another indication of there's just a little subculture in the city when it comes to the rivalry here of what I presume are just kids being fucking horrible knobheads.
Yeah, it's hard to, you clearly never can understand anybody who does something that you just can't understand. You can't put yourself in their shoes because it's just never something that you would do. But to deface something that is for our one, Alder Hay, and for the Anfield Raps mural, fan support and food banks, they're there to give people a smile and to recognise something that's happened, of course, but they're actually for more than just the footy. They're for a hospital that does amazing things for children in Liverpool, and for an initiative that was set up jointly between Liverpool and Everton fans to help the hunger crisis going on in the city as well. So to be able to, deface this artwork and specifically scroll over the fan support and food bank things, it's baffling to me, and I don't know to what end. How have they won by doing that? What have they won by doing that?
But you see this, don't you, Saskia Jade? It's kids, clearly. Well, look, I thought was a bit funny about it, and when I say funny, take the meaning on this. They tried to write Steven Gerrard, the baby, as pancakes, because there was a famous rumour of Gerrard and his baby was apparently some Liverpool gangsters, and it was those horrible rumours. They clearly can't spell pancake, so they cross pancake, write panks, and then cross it out. But it shows it's a bunch of idiot kids. But the problem with that is that when you're an idiot kid, it's the fact that that's gone all over social media and people have talked about it. That's their win. It's it's kids trying to leave their mark and trying to get some sort of reaction or whatever. So they've achieved whatever they were trying to do, and that's just being little dickheads.
Yeah, I mean, you'd hope it's kids.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
for starters, you really would hope it's kids. But yeah, you're right. That's kids get the win out of it, going viral and it's done its bits, it's done its rounds, and they'll be well happy with it. I know. And it's just so pathetic.
But the problem with it, of course, is that it becomes a perpetual cycle. So it gets cleaned up. Mm-hmm. Whether it's those same kids again or people again or another group now who go, well, I know that I can do something and that'll get shared around again. It's just we're on a path to that happening again, and it'll probably be the next derby. It might happen before, but there's no. Liverpool and Everton have come out and issued a statement condemning it, but they're not doing anything about it. It's we don't agree with this. Well, they shouldn't agree with it, but there's no.
I feel like that's a given to not agree with it.
Yeah.
No,
absolutely. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
The statement wasn't strong enough, to be honest with you.
It was so short.
I don't know what I expect them to be able to do. They have condemned it, of course, but you want justice for it in some way, don't you? But you're never going to get that. When we're living in the world where Olivia's killers are still at large, then no one is going to grass up somebody who scrolled on a wall essentially over a piece of art, are they? Yeah. You know what I mean? It's a terrible time in the city right now, and for me, I'm looking at that, and that's not even. The biggest problem I have with it all is the racism on the Salah one.
Yes. Because,
you're using outdated terminology there, and the fact that this sort of thing still exists, and that you're putting that out there, and that it's not just, for me, it's like, it's not one person either. It doesn't feel like it was one person who did these. Like, it's a group of people who all think the same thing, and that's even more concerning than just one person thinking like that.
Yeah.
Like, that's the worst of it all.
It strikes me almost the worst thing about it is that because I hate the fact that the Ian St John one gets done, because I put this on Twitter. The guy who owns that house, which is where our Hendo one is a guy called Tom. Brilliant fella, and he absolutely adored
built the wall.
John. He literally built that wall to have that put on. It's his personal property. People think of them as like public things, which they are, but it's his house. He wants them on the side, either facing someone's house and moreover damaging something that, you know, both those players have passed as well, and particularly St John, who obviously went to see.
Well, he like, just to carry on with that quickly. Like, the side of the house was always the side of his house. He literally paid his own money to build a wall so that someone could do that on the side of that wall.
But the Salah stuff, because the other stuff is like, it looks as kids go, oh, what else funny can we write on it? The Salah what feels like they were walking away from it, and they went, oh God, there's the Salah one. And someone went, because it's literally one word written on it, and it's like they've gone, and they've written that word. And that's the thing it's the casualness with that. It's like on the other ones, they've written every offensive thing you can, any you know, idiot brain can come up with on all the other ones. But the idea that it's just like, it just feels so. Oh yeah, it's just fucking horrible shit. Speaking of which, let's talk about the game. That being said, I thought Joe Gomez, Saskia, was brilliant. He's one of those lads. He's had such a tough time with injuries, and that's true of so many of our players, unfortunately. But he's such a good guy. He's so good at footy as well. He's like, he gets disrespected because Virgil's so good, and because Matip's been so good, and because Konate's come in and he's the new shiny toy. But I just love the fact that Joe Gomez is back on the pitch performing for Liverpool.
Oh yeah, fully. Like, it's so good to see him back, like, on the pitch, and it feels like how it should be, in a way, like them at the back. Do you know what I mean?
Well, they were the centre halves when we won the league, weren't they, for the most part? So to see those two together again, you're like, oh my God, these two can still do it, like, you know what I mean? And for me, Joe Gomez looks right now as good as he's ever looked for us. Yeah. You know, I know it's only a few games into the season and stuff, but the composure with which he's, you know, passing out from the back, but also the way he's using his body to get across defenders, he's covering space really well. He just seems like he's not missed that much football, which is mad because he's missed loads of footy. Yeah,
no, it's true. And I think that speaks to just how good. There's a lot of criticism about how much squad depth Liverpool have got. Have they got enough quality players? Then there's a lad who starts the season as fourth choice centre half, and he's coming in, he's performing at that level. It's actually one of the few. There's probably 2 or 3 players this season. There's Harvey Elliott, there's him in particular, and probably Fabio Carvalho, where I've been like, I don't know, just it kind of gives you a little bit of joy inside to see someone actually getting their chance to shine again.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's so good to see him just like having that time to just be him, and it feels like he just melts into the team. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and that's exactly, and it goes to prove it's not a new lad that we've brought in. There's someone who understands Liverpool and how they play inside and out. The game was about, obviously we've both spoken about the issues getting into the grounds. There's plenty of stuff on that, so I don't want to go too much on that again. But the organisation was a bit of a shit show. So we missed the first 10 minutes, and it was hard to gauge sort of how the first half was going off the back of it, Chris. As the days have gone on after the game, I feel a bit more relaxed about it, and I don't know what's your overall feeling. Does it being the derby make it harder to see it as anything other than being really shit and miserable?
No, because it's the same for every footy match. Like the match is the tempo of the emotions, isn't it? Yeah. You know, so you get up to it, and the closer you get, the more nervous you get. You go through the game, and your heart beats all over the shop. And then as you get further away from the game, it all sort of mellows down again. So now we're sort of 3-4 days away from it, and I'm like, oh, you know what? We created loads more chances. We hit the post. I can't remember how many times. Was it 3 or 4? You know, we had clearly more of the ball than Everton. It was like 81% or something. So there's nothing there that you can get too mad about. Then you throw the context of Liverpool haven't been great there for years. You know, it's been draw after draw after draw. They set back with a game plan. We, for the most part, nullified that game plan. We should have won the game. It's hard to stay angry at those lads when ultimately they should have won the game, and they did well enough to win the game.
The best moment of the game, ultimately, aside from the multiple rattles to the bar, I have to say, Saskia, them having their goal disallowed was a moment of pure happiness.
Oh, 100%. Like, because I can't lie. I was watching the game and I was getting so annoyed, and I just ended up nodding off here and there. Nodding off, just like,
oh my god! I wish my wife fucking fell asleep when she was annoyed. It would save me so much stress.
I was getting angry at it, and I was so tired as well watching it. I just kept nodding off, and I remember waking up and then they'd scored, and I was like, like, what the hell? And then seeing it disallowed, I was like, yeah, okay.
There was just, we were there because we were.
I was ready to nod off again.
There you go, John. Back to we were right by the Everton fans, and there's just that. It's one of the things I love about being in away ends. But there's a physical divide. They got a netting up between us, so no one's getting to each other. There's been a couple of hairy aways where you're a bit too close. But the fact that every now and again you could just look over them and look at the frothing at the mouth, like losing the shit, and the fact that they all got that big celebration and we were all sat there going, the referee's going to give this and we're going to have to look and they're going to be celebrating again and we're going to have to get our heads down again, and the fact that we just got to give it the...
Well, that's the thing, you're talking about it, weren't we? We turned around to Rob and we were talking with Rob Gutman from the Anfield Rap and saying, like, the worst part about this is they get to celebrate twice. They get to enjoy it again, like another, FU and all that type of stuff. But then it was, for me, it was like, we'd already had earlier on in the game the woo and all that type of stuff.
Oh, that song, by the way, they've got the, I don't even know what it is. They've got this,
I heard it last year at the end of the season.
Is it the song of the Spirit of the, is it the Spirit of the Blues?
Yeah.
So they've got this song and basically it's got a woo in it. And I'm all for a woo.
A Ric Flair woo.
A Ric Flair woo has got its place in society. Woo! It's got its time and place. Yeah,
I want a cross chest chop with it, but like you can't do that in the match.
But it's just like, because Evertonians they're the most easily embarrassed football fans.
It's just quite twee, isn't it? The whole song, and quite a lot of their songs are quite sort of twee in that way.
I just find it bizarre because Liverpool have got so many songs, and these are literally, they're the same people as us. They live next door, they live down the street, and they don't have that, but they've got this song that they've dug out from the 80s and it's got a woo in it, and fair play, own your woo, lads. But there was a few moments where we were going woo, like giving it the beans with it, and I which I thought was absolutely brilliant.
You just got 2,000 football fans going woo,
and then you look over and you can see a couple there's a couple of them going, yeah, we've got a woo in a song. We deserve everything that's coming to us. How's
nobody else picked up on this? How have we got away with this for so long?
I saw the Leeds fans slaughtered them last week for it. It went viral, like someone filming it from the Leeds end of skitting them for the woo. I mean, own your woos, lads, by all means. But wow. It's brilliant. Like they honestly, they do it to themselves. I just think it's fucking magic, absolutely magic. I'm convinced on the day we win that comfortably, to be honest. And I know, and that's there is a little bit of red tinted glasses that goes into that because they do have good chances. Alisson makes a hell of a save. About two brilliant.
The deflected one was good.
Yeah, the deflected one with his full stretch and he tips it over the bar is magnificent goalkeeping. But Jordan Pickford makes the more pressing of the saves throughout the day. The thing that gets me, Saskia, is I was astounded to look at the league table and see we're only 5 points behind Manchester City.
Yeah.
6 points behind Arsenal. And it kind of goes to show, listen, Liverpool need to get their act together.
Oh, 100%.
They do.
100%.
But we should be dead and buried by now. It should be beyond comprehension that Liverpool could be anywhere near the top of the league. And that's the sort of thing that's given me a little bit of confidence in this, or a little bit of calm, is... It's a long season. Each and every game doesn't matter, provided Liverpool do pick up. But at the moment, it's not dead and buried.
Yeah, I think everyone's looking at it now as at the end goal, and they're going, "Well, we've screwed ourselves." We've
lived that life, haven't we? For Man City, Man City have been so good for so long. It's borderline depression to think about like that. You need to be perfect.
Yeah.
But don't get thinking about it. She'll nod off.
No, but I genuinely think that. There's so much left of the season. We are only this far behind them, 5-6 points you said?
Yeah.
So we should, where's the faith in the team? This is where, I'm seeing all the comments online. I'm like, if you guys keep thinking like that, what do you think it's going to do to them? If that's all they're seeing and they're not seeing people, still supporting them.
Well, you're right, and it's tough because we never know where people are taking those attitudes, and players definitely see things online, of course. I know, and this is the problem. I've seen a lot of this talk of I saw it encapsulated with the expression toxic positivity, which is the most hilarious concept I've ever heard in my entire life. Like the idea that you can be too upbeat on stuff. But that's the issue with it. I think Saskia's right there. The problem with faith is it requires you to give of yourself, give over to certain things. And I can appreciate it that this season Liverpool haven't been great. But I don't know at what point faith starts. You know what I mean? At what point, where does faith and delusion cross over? Because for me, I've had faith in terrible Liverpool teams. I think having faith in this Liverpool team is not a deluded attitude to have.
No, look, you can take it to religion, you can take it to footy. It doesn't really make any difference to me, to be honest with you. Faith provides comfort to people, whether you agree or disagree with it, whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God. It gives them comfort. If you know someone in your life that has a proper faith, then it supports them and it helps them to be the person that they are. You can take that to footy as well.
It's annoying though, isn't it? Maybe that's the problem. When you see someone who's clearly comforted by their faith, it's really...
It is annoying and it's really hard to deal with, so you may as well just go on Twitter and spout about it, because that's what these people are doing, you know what I mean? And like, you know, there's a difference between a fan and a supporter, and I'd say a supporter generally probably has more faith than a fan, because they're there just for that one thing, to be able to give it every single week for their team, whether that's singing on the terraces, whether that's providing support with the people around you when you're watching the game from miles away. It doesn't really matter, but it's providing something to somebody. Maybe it's just yourself, maybe it's you and a few friends, who knows. But like, for me, I will always trust in this side, and I'll trust in this side more than the side from 5 years ago, and more than the side from 10 years ago, who were clearly shit and proved me deluded. And until this side proved me deluded, I'll continue to have the faith.
That's the problem, isn't it? As you see, this is the people that I think people are scared to publicly put their faith out there because of like this like I told you so culture that's around this. No one wants to be embarrassed, no one wants to be held up, and it's easier to say everything's shit.
Yeah, but do you know what? Embarrassment is only embarrassment if you allow it to be embarrassment. Yeah. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, but it's true, isn't it? But that's the thing, is that we've got this culture where I think people have got to demonstrate their passions by being really big in their responses to stuff. Sometimes you kind of do need to get your head down and get on with it. But you know, we've been chatting about some stuff pretty going on, but that negativity, it does seep in. You know, it's not the same as being in the stands and screaming in someone's face, but you know, you can change the mood. The mood can seep into the players' lives by being so. And there's one thing between constructive criticism. It's one thing to say, maybe you should have played that ball on the outside, maybe you should have pushed a bit harder for that particular tackle, to just being just horrendously downbeat about the whole thing.
I think as long as they see what they're doing and see what's going wrong now, then we carry on with all the faith that we've got. Yeah, no, I agree. Look, if we get to January and it's still...
No, but this we're in the same year where Liverpool were 14 points behind Manchester City. That happened in this calendar year, and they went to a point, and some people would point to the fact that they didn't win the league, you know, and that's, well, they didn't win the league, so who gives a shit? I was like, well, yeah, but they clawed back a 14-point deficit to make it interesting, and as a fan, all you can ever ask for is the people on the pitch to go out there and give it all. That's maybe the only slight question on this, Chris, is that are we happy with that the players on the pitch are giving everything at the minute?
I don't know, to be honest, because I think there's something wrong at the moment, and I think for me it's as simple as the front six players aren't as well gelled as the front six players that we had last season. You know, and that's going to take time to fix. You know, you've sat here I don't know how many times over the last few months, and I've said we're not as good a side as the end of last season. You know, we might be in 3 or 4 months' time, but a lot of people think because you've signed an £80 million player or thereabouts that you're instantly a better side. Now, if you go in there with that opinion that we've signed an £80 million player, we must be better because Sadio Mane annoyed me for 2 years, then you're going to be disappointed at the start of the season when it takes time to gel together. You know, we're clearly trying something different with Mo Salah in his position and being really, really wide. We saw it at stages last season. You know, we're still trying to work out how Diaz and Salah and Núñez are all going to play together. We're still changing the dynamic of the midfield with probably a more advanced midfielder in Harvey Elliott. These things all take time. I think, you know, we saw last season Trent Alexander-Arnold playing a little bit more inside. Well, we're seeing that with Robbo now, because he's playing with Diaz more than he was when he was playing with Sadio Mane, who would cut inside and Robbo would go around the outside. So these are all things that affect the team, not to mention that you're now playing your fourth choice centre-half as well. You know, you've got 10 injuries at the start of the season, give or take. You know, these are all things that matter to a football side, and they're fucking knackered from playing 63 games last season. You know, there's all this, and it was a shorter summer, and the season's started harder because it's going to be 2 games a week until the World Cup in the middle of it. There are so many mitigating circumstances, which is also why, by the way, City are only 5 points ahead of us, because they're going through the same shit, though they haven't had as much change in terms of personnel or system as Liverpool.
I'm convinced that if Diogo Jota's fit to start the season and or Darwin Núñez doesn't get sent off, I think we cover up a lot of these problems that we're supposed to be having. Because look at Man City, Haaland's just scoring goals for them, and that's how they're winning a lot of their football games. If we've got Mo Salah, I think, who's playing wider than he would normally do. He's being less the tip of the spear for what we do, and the guy we've bought to do that job got fucking suspended because he was an idiot, and the lad who we bought 2 years ago to do that job as well hasn't been available. So we've lost we're missing a 20 goal a season striker from that side for the last 3 games prior to the weekend. That, honestly, you know, the fine margin to those football matches. If you score more goals, you win more games, and people are less arsed about. People are not going, oh, he wasn't running hard enough, or he wasn't doing that. You've won a football match, and people switch off to it. But when things are not going right, you see this in all walks of life, don't you, Saskia? When things aren't right, you look for answers. Yeah. And because you don't know the answer, you can speculate till the cows come home about what it'll be. And because there's a negative vibe in general, it'll be a million things that are fucked, as opposed to 1 or 2 little things that maybe just need an easy fix.
Yeah, and it's like you said about like having injuries as well. Like, we've literally had so many injuries already. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've not even got like our best like midfield at the moment. Yeah. Like, everything's just been a bit of a shambles. So give us our time.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
I think that, again, the injuries thing, I feel like people get bored of hearing the same answer. They want a new conversation. They want it to be something else. Or they want it to be part of a bigger problem that's going to be, it's unfixable, because that gives you more reason to kick off and whinge and moan about stuff.
Well, how you had the conversation with Simon Brundish a few weeks ago. How do you prime players for 2 games a week in a pre-season when they only have 45 minutes and 60 minutes? Yeah. Like, it's impossible. Yeah. And when you start losing players at the end of that pre-season, your players can't be primed. But then you're forced to play them in 2 games a week almost straight away, and injuries happen to those lads. Jordan Henderson being a classic example. Even though you're trying to sort of halt it by substituting him every game, it still doesn't work. So this is all a learning curve for the sports scientists. It's a learning curve for Jürgen, and the team are probably, as we already mentioned, dead on the feet from last season.
Yeah, no, I completely agree on all that. I think it'll be fine. I've got a general vibe, and the more I've thought about it, the more I've kind of looked at it. I say it's
Liverpool's big issue is conceding the first goal.
Yes,
that's the big problem at the moment. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I'm right in saying, if you take away the Bournemouth game, our goal difference is level in the others. Yeah. which isn't good enough either, is it? You know, we need to start scoring those goals. It's obvious to say it, but we've had the opportunities, we've had the chances.
But I said you're right. But I said this: Bobby Firmino, I love him to death, and he's been brilliant so far this season. He's not a 20 to 30 goal a season striker. He's not. So, but we're asking him to be, because that's what we need. I've said, if you want to be a top 4 team, you need 20 to 25 goal a season player in your team. If you want to be a cemented top 4 team, you need 1.5. And if you want to challenge for the title, you need 2 and above to be able to really get up to those kind of numbers. Every time Liverpool challenged the title, we've had 2 guys who get around 20 league goals. At the moment, we don't have that in the side at all. Diaz is still adapted. Salah's doing his bit, but he looks more of a creator this time around. And Bobby Firmino's been getting the numbers, but it's not natural to him. That chance where Salah plays the outside of the boot pass to him, and he gets a decent connection, he gets it on target. A predatory goal scorer just buries that and wheels away. And I'm convinced that's the difference. We'll have to live with it and see that
the conversations around Salah, like, I'm watching them all on Twitter at the moment about his positioning and stuff, and it did start last season, it wasn't this season, so everyone's a bit slower on the uptake, to be honest with you, anyway.
Because when there's no problems, you don't analyse all the bits and pieces.
And it's exactly what you were talking about earlier, isn't it? But like for me, it's what you do. You cut your nose off to spite your face here, because the plan is to get him out wide and to get him to create more for Darwin Núñez to score 30 goals a season. So do you start that process early? Do you start it now, or do you just sack it off and go back to what we did last season, which, you know, we don't think,
and then we bring in the lad, we bring Darwin Núñez in, who's not fully integrated in the team's not set up to play his way, and he's got you'll have no chance, absolutely no chance if that happens. Yeah, no, I agree on that. Liverpool bought another player in the transfer window on loan. It was Artem Melo. We're going to chat about that in a minute, but I spoke to Andy Brassel on Expert Insight over on Redmen Plus to get a European football expert's view on Liverpool's new midfielder.
You might remember the time that Barcelona beat Tottenham 4-2 at Wembley in the Champions League. Messi was the best player on the pitch and he was the second best player on the pitch. He was absolutely phenomenal in that game. And at that point, I think a lot of people all over Europe, all over the world, think Barcelona have got their Xavi replacement. You know, he's got time on the ball. He can see everything. It's like he's got 360 vision. He's got great variation of passing. But since then, obviously what's happened to Barcelona has happened to Barcelona. He didn't really step on from that, which was an issue. He had a few injury complications at both Barcelona and Juventus. Of course, he was part of that Miralem Pjanic swap that wasn't a swap, which might have been some creative accounting on the case of both clubs. And he's got a bit lost at Juventus in a midfield which is much of a muchness. You know, lots of quality players who do pretty much the same thing, who've got good passing and not a lot of pace. Yeah. So they've lost patience with him. A lot of people in Barcelona were a little bit concerned about the way he lived his life, if we're being honest as well. He was maybe out a bit too much for his own good. But I think a lot of people were looking for a reason why he didn't fulfill this potential, because his potential was so enormous and it was so immediately beginning to be fulfilled when he arrived there. So to me, it feels like it doesn't feel like a very Liverpool signing, but it feels like one where they've taken a punt. You expect little, but the upside is high if you get it right.
Yes, check out the full show with Andy Brassel, Expert Insight, streaming in video and in podcast form over on redmenplus.com right now. We also had a good old chat with Neil Jones on JNO Insight as well about him. And we did Redmen Reacts, me and Steve Plunkett. So yeah, loads of art or content that we can get into until inevitably he takes the pitch and everyone hates him. I was reasonably okay with this. I mean, Saskia, I had a roller coaster of a day on transfer deadline day. It was Liverpool are clearly not signing anyone. Oh, Liverpool are signing someone. And then I watched a bit of him and I was like, I'm not sure I'm asked about him. I had like people telling me he was crap, and then Andy came on and told me he was like Thiago. I just honestly, there comes a point where I'm just glad we signed someone, because I'm so bored of the Liverpool just need to sign someone. Well, there we go. Shut up. We signed someone.
Yeah, do you know what? Like, when I first saw it on Twitter, I was like, okay, I don't know this guy. So I had no opinion. But then it was seeing everyone say this shit, and I'm like, what have we done? But thinking about it, I was like, well, we need someone, because Hendo's now done in for like a few weeks. So, you know, but then I spoke to my stepdad and he was like, no, he's good, you know. And I was like, oh, okay, well, if you think he's good, I'll say he's good then. So it's just one of those things. I just want to see how he plays. I tried watching one of those compilations. Is it?
Is it to your musical taste?
Right. Oh my God. I had to it got muted within about 10 seconds, because what is that background music? Also, so boring. I didn't think there was nothing special about it. Yeah. I couldn't see anything where I was like, he's going to be great.
I went through, and this was part of my roller coaster, I went through the exact same process. I remember him signing for Barcelona. I have not given him a second thought as a human being, as a footballer, as anything since then. and I watched the compilation just to try and get a general vibe. And compilation reels, we said this for years, they are meant to be like
hype videos.
Exactly. It's like, you know, we all do. You don't put
If they don't hype you up, you've got to be concerned.
Nobody puts photos of them looking like shit on Instagram. You know what I mean? That's not the point. Yeah, all right. But the nobody deliberately does that. And that's what they are, hype reels. They're meant to make you feel like how good a footballer is. And I watched it and I was like, oh God. And of course, and it is tainted by the horrific music that
it's
soundtracks it. Was that your first experience of a YouTube football compilation?
No. I've watched them before, but
they all got that music.
It's just the music's just awful, isn't it? Like, dread.
It's like. But it's like TikTok trends where something becomes popular, so everyone has a go at it, and by the time you get down the line, it's like why are people doing this? You miss where the trend came from. Somewhere at some point in the past, somebody put together a highlight reel of a footballer and went, hardcore metal, no. Pop, no. Trance, yes, that will fit this vibe.
I'll tell you what the music reminds me of. You know Alton Towers?
Yeah.
Oblivion. You know when you hear it up Oblivion, right? It's literally that. Like, that is what it is.
Yeah, it's absolutely fucking horrendous, and it made me feel worse about Arthur as a player because it's like the torture. I could watch my favourite TV show, but if someone was stabbing me in the side with a needle while I was doing it, Chris, it would make me enjoy the experience less. So maybe I was.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I'm glad for you. Actually,
I mean, for some people it's not, and I'm sure we'll find out about those kind of people on Podcast Extra. But yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see what he's like. If I'm perfectly honest, he's a bit of a. I've been told he can be quite. He's got skills, he's got attributes that are similar to Thiago Alcantara. That is great. I don't want to hear he's just a midfielder. I want someone to tell me that the spider diagram of what skill sets he has matches to a similar sort of shape to Thiago Alcantara.
And that's what we needed as well.
Yeah.
I think it was the podcast last week when we were talking, I was saying I'm disappointed that the midfield options that we've been linked with have all been scattergun, they've been DM, they've been attacking mid, they've been box to box and all that type of stuff, whereas what we've needed is someone who can back up Thiago Alcantara. Yeah. So to get someone in with the same sort of style of play as Thiago means that there was a thought out plan behind it, rather than they just we literally are going to try and sign anybody. That's not what Liverpool needed. Liverpool needed somebody who can play in the same fashion as Thiago Alcantara. You're not going to get someone on loan on deadline day who is as good as Thiago Alcantara, so don't make no bones about that. He's not going to be as good, but if he can be an adequate replacement in times of need, then he's going to be suitable for us. And it all sure depends on how long it takes to get him in, whether he will get in time, because Thiago will be back soon enough. But
Thiago's in training this week already, exactly. which is great.
So you know, hopefully by the weekend maybe Thiago's playing footy again. You know, that would be the best case scenario for us, isn't it?
I think Arthur's just there to replace Naby, to be honest, in the short term. Naby, we don't know what's going on. Sorry, they're cutting the grass outside. Good on him.
Every Tuesday.
That's Naby's agent coming to get me. I don't know, Saskia, you've seen, there's been a lot of like rumours that he's unhappy, he wants to move on. He's been constantly... not constantly, that's an exaggeration, that's the problem, is that I could say he's constantly injured and nobody would go, no he hasn't, they would agree he's been constantly injured. He's not going to sign a new deal. He doesn't seem to be happy at Liverpool, and he's never fit when you need him. It does look a little bit like with the Hendo injury as well, this is why they've kind of pushed the button, and it kind of makes sense. Naby Keita and Curtis Jones are there to back Thiago up. Curtis had his own problems, and if Naby's going to be a problem of himself, then they kind of had to go and get something sorted.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of people that I'm seeing that saying that Naby wants to go, you know, we need someone there. We need someone that's going to do the job, especially if like Thiago's injured, like.
And he's going to get injured again because he doesn't play more than 35 games a season, so they need to be careful with that.
Exactly. Do you know what? I just want to see how he plays, and then I can make my decision on him, because I'm not going to know until
he's like, the internet.
He's
make a cast iron call on him now before.
Yeah, and stand by it. Even if he has a bad first game, you've got to stand by. He was shit forever.
I said
because that's it. You can't change your mind.
My uncle.
There's no do-overs.
Fine, then I'll say he's good. I'll say he'll be good.
Good.
There we go. You say shit, I'll say he'll be good.
Toxic positivity, that
Yeah.
God. Did anyone see the Moises Caicedo stuff on deadline
How
day?
could you not?
So
I saw it all over Twitter. I don't really...
yeah, so basically in like 2 hours before the deadline, he liked the post of Arthur joining Liverpool.
He followed a load of people,
He
right?
followed a bunch of Liverpool players on Instagram, and there was rumours that Liverpool were going back for one more. It was like Indiana Jones going back for his hat before the door slammed shut on him. Utter frenzy, and I was sat here at 9 o'clock at night, done with my videos for the night, thinking all safe and sound. I was like, can I go home? Because I'm kind of done. And I was in that annoying position of like, I almost didn't want Liverpool to sign another player because it was going to undo my entire evening's work.
You say almost, Paul, but you were absolutely there.
Yeah, I was out the door. There's rumours, Chris, that Liverpool have got first refusal on him in January. I don't know how true that is, but it was a fun little
I just think he was taking the piss, to be honest with you. I think it's much funnier if you just think he was sat at home going, oh, fuck it, why not? I like all them things, and let's see what happens from it.
Let's see how many more followers I can get from doing
and just
that.
how quickly the world will think that I'm now about to move to Liverpool. I just think he was sat in his bills, bored, watching Deadline, going, this is shit, let's spice it up a little touch, and just like everybody, and then that's it. And then it went crazy for about 45 minutes to an hour and a half, something like that. And then he probably went to bed. Yeah. He probably followed everyone and went, fuck it, I'll see what I caused in the morning, and then nodded off, and that was
Didn't he
that.
take his team at his bio or something?
Apparently so as well, yeah.
Shits and giggles, man. He just had the funniest night.
I would love that as a social experiment, to know how many followers he gained in 2 hours.
Yeah, to be fair, that would be
by
interesting.
socially linking himself to.
I need to
Liverpool.
unfollow him, actually.
Yeah,
because I did follow him, so I need to unfollow him now.
See,
you
just
fell
tell
for it.
me.
Of course it did, sucker.
Of course it did.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that.
How long did you sit here for?
Not long. I did say, I was on my way home, I was like, I can't, I'd done a video, and it's out on my channel, but it's like basically talking about Liverpool's entire transfer business. I did a 20 plus minute like diatribe on where I think we were at, and like if Liverpool had signed another player, the entire thing was completely and utterly, completely dead. I'd have had to re-record the whole thing. And I would have happily done it, by the way, if Liverpool had signed another footballer. I'm joking, partially. But yeah, it was a funny. I love that. I love the fact that I love the idea that it's nothing to do with it, and he's just gone, fucking this will be hell. His mate's gone, do you dare me? Pass your phone.
Yeah.
Do you dare me to like all these and see what happens?
His PS5 fucking went into update mode, and he just got bored and went, fuck it, pick
But
his
he's
phone
only
up.
but he's only a young lad. You know, maybe he's not aware of how insane our fan base is. I mean, like we'll track your playing, son. We will. We are. There's lads on pin tweet watch on LFC's official Twitter account. Like the pin tweet goes.
Yeah, and it went. We got word about 8 o'clock in the morning on Deadline Day that the pin tweet went. So we should have known something was coming. We did. We knew something was coming.
Something big. Something was brewing. You got to watch out. Do you have a big? Do you have like pinned tweets? Things, big events going on. We don't do it at all. We forget. We look at.
I've always got a pinned tweet, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, but if you do it for like, if some big announcement's coming, do you have it?
No. The question is, right? You've got a pin tweet. Do you change it straight away for another pin tweet,
Mine
or do you
probably
take one
changes-
down for a few hours and
I
then
change it
put a
straight
pin
away.
tweet?
I would change it straight away.
Well, what you need to do to send your followers into a frenzy is take it down and leave the gap where they're wondering what the fuck's next.
See, I don't think that would work the same for mine, but yeah, it probably
I don't know.
Fair.
I don't know.
You gotta try
People
it.
go, something big must be coming if you've taken it down. You've taken the time out of your day to take a pin tweet off.
And then
True.
tweet, no pin tweet.
Yeah, it's the act of a fucking sociopath who's got the, to go and take a pin tweet down and leave it blank. Like, why would you do? I can't fathom why. And it has to be for the hype.
Yeah, probably.
Try that next time.
I'd fully forget to put it back, put one back up. I'd be like, right, I've taken one down, cool.
Yeah.
Go on with my day.
Yeah. Well, honestly, we do that. I check how often do you check the profile page? And I do it every now and again, Redmen, and go, yeah, that's about 3 months out of date. So well, sound great. Yeah. So, yeah. I think mine's still. Yeah, anyway, it's not important. But Liverpool got a strong social game, so they were smashing it. Wednesday, Napoli. We never win over there. In fact, I did the not to spoil the trivia question, but I'll partially spoil it, but the last time we didn't lose there was 2010. I mean, that's only like 3 games ago. The problem with this game, Chris, is you can you can go to Old Trafford and lose in any given season. You can go to the Goodison Park and draw in any given season, and you can go to Napoli and not win in any given season. But the problem is because there's this overriding feeling of negativity and Liverpool haven't got a grip on the season yet, we're now left. It's another game where the feeling is Liverpool need to go and win. And actually, of all those games I've mentioned, this is actually the game that we least need to go and win. Maybe for the psychology, maybe for the boost, but your hardest group game away, if people go to Napoli and come away with a point, as long as they win the games that follow, it kind of doesn't really matter.
Yeah, because you're hoping that you could be through by the time you play the big Anfield, aren't you? Yeah. You know, that's what you're looking for at the moment. It's difficult, isn't it? Because obviously it's a short gap as well from a game, 12:30 on Saturday, big travel over to Italy and stuff. And I think I've seen all the stuff with the fans and that. Like, that's mental. Have you seen all this?
Is it like Rome, like in Rome, where they're asking people to meet up 5 hours before kickoff in one designated area?
So they can safely get you to the ground. Like, going 5 hours before the game somewhere. Like,
it's fucking horseshit. This, and it goes back to Paris. But I saw someone tweeting this, on paraphrasing, but if you're requiring football fans to turn up to somewhere that's not the ground 5 hours before the game to guarantee their safety, then you shouldn't be playing football matches at that there. They shouldn't be allowed to host football matches. It's fucking...
It's bananas, isn't it? Like, I mean, there's two ways of looking at it. Either they shouldn't be allowed to host football matches, or they shouldn't be allowed to have their own fans there. Yeah. And it should be played at most likely, it should be played at a more neutral venue. Yeah. You know, if that's what you're looking at, I mean, that's ridiculous that you can't provide safety for the people who are coming to the footy match.
I know, there's so many tickets floating around for that game because nobody wants to go. Because, from a personal perspective, I'm just not interested. I haven't gone through what happened in Paris. I'm not interested in going to that kind of environment and having to look over my shoulder and be worried for me safety going to watch a football game. It's fucking pathetic.
But on the footy side of things, Liverpool, I think Liverpool could get a boost out of getting a good result there. Yeah. And a good result there doesn't necessarily mean a win, but it can be one of them draws that feels like wins. You know what I mean? One of those, like, when you're losing 1-0 with 5 to go and you get a 1-1 and you get a boost off the back of that because you've come back and you've saved a point type of thing. Obviously the win's preferable. You want to go and put something together, but it's a competition. Last season we got 18 points out of the 6 games. We won all 6 of them. Like, it's a competition that we feel comfortable in, that we're still sort of treated as an equal, not as a better in. And I think Liverpool deal with that still slightly better, to be honest, because teams don't play us the same way they do in the Premier League, where they just sit back and hope that we're not going to be able to get something. Like Napoli at home are going to play in front of their fans and try and do what they do, which is, to be fair, it's pretty normally defensive footy anyway, and it's normally quite good against us. But if Liverpool can get something, it could just kickstart the next few weeks for us.
I agree.
See, I don't know how they play, but I've heard they play pretty dirty.
Yeah, well, that's absolutely, and it will be. I can take the twinkle out of your eye when you said that. But I think that's a good opportunity for Liverpool to just say, you know, we're not going to go and play our brand of, like, own the ball, expansive football. We're actually going to sit back and park the bus. What are you doing? Are you going to sit there for 90 minutes and not attack us? No, you are. You're going to have no choice because your fans will get on your back. Go there and keep a clean sheet and see what happens. Yeah. I want to know.
But we could have like 3 people who were, you know, big games for, and Nunes obviously first game in the Champions League for us. You got Diaz, who's obviously had a little taster of the Champions League last season, both for Benfica and for us, but also the likes of like Nunes.
Benfica. Diaz, Nunes, Benfica, Diaz, Porto,
you got Carvalho and Elliott as well. Carvalho could be involved in his first Champions League campaign. Elliott obviously has only had a small taste of European football, so this could be a big night for them to sort of showcase themselves to the watching world.
No, I agree. Yeah. I want to know, I put this out as a tweet because it was exactly how I felt on Sunday night, Saskia. I want to know if I'm in a bad mood because my life is fucked, or it's all Liverpool's fault because they've been a bit shit. So I need Liverpool to just win some games of football.
Your life's fucked.
Yeah, well, I can deal with that. I don't want my life to be fucked. You know what I mean? But if Liverpool get better and I still find myself in an existential funk, then I know there's elements of my life that I need to sort. Yeah. But it's impossible to unpick because when Liverpool aren't winning, it's the perpetual cloud of misery hangs over the head. I need Liverpool to win football games for my own happiness is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, we all do, don't we though? I think at the moment, outside of football, there's so much going on anyway. No one's the happiest right now, are they? And then with how Liverpool have been at the start of season...
No, it's true.
You go through it, you go through the summer and stuff, and you know that there's a cost of living crisis coming and all that type of stuff, and you think to yourself, it's all right though, Liverpool will win the league. And that'll sort me out, and, you know, that'll make everything else better for me in some way, and it doesn't, of course.
Well, that was the thing with the derby, why it was a little bit, just undercut it a bit, because beating Bournemouth was great because it showed we know how to score goals. That was lovely. That was nice, needed that. Beating Newcastle with the last kick of the game was just a moment of magic, and that was like great. Well, that, you know, when you're getting those wins, they're like the signposts on the way to great seasons when you win games of football like that. But then to not be able to do it against Everton as well, and I think they're the fine margins. That Pickford save from Salah toward the end, if that creeps in, because we were in like Everton heartbreak territory there, and if you get that, all of a sudden you've won 3 on the bounce. The mood is like, we're unbeatable here. No, we're still playing shit, but we're unbeatable. Whereas it's just, again, I suppose I'm preaching faith, but my own faith is like just on the fringes there. I could really do with Liverpool just picking it up. Right, speaking of pick-me-ups, we have got an absolute belter of a show to come immediately after this. We're going to do a podcast extra. I'm sure that we've seen it in the comments. There's a number of people who've Googled Saskia Jade probably while we've been live. You know, and whatever you found is whatever you found. I would just recommend. I would just clarify: people shouldn't necessarily Google you while they're in a public space or in
not in a public space. In work, depends what you do.
If you're an MP, it's probably absolutely fine.
Yeah, I mean, if you're behind a desk somewhere, who's gonna
know?
Who's gonna know? But yeah, and also just make sure you're over 18, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Like many of the things that we cover on this podcast, being 18 plus is very important. So yeah, we're gonna have a good old chat over on Podcast Extra. If you're unfamiliar with Podcast Extra, what we call it is the extra uncensored, unbroadcastable podcast normally by myself and Chris. It is the natural progression of what was formerly known as the MXP podcast, was me and Chris's podcast, where we just chat biff and shit about life in general. We have good fun on there. It's just stuff that we don't want to put in public. So we have like a common... We've got a trust circle. We've got a trust circle. There's a circle of trust between us and the people who watch and consume that podcast, that we don't put that stuff in the public space, which means we can talk about anything, we can ask anything, and we can answer anything. So if you want to get over there, we're going to be live on Redmen Plus in about 10-15 minutes time, probably slightly less than that. So if you go over, you got time to subscribe. You can scan the QR code if you're live on YouTube or after the fact. That'll be there to watch or to listen to in your podcasting app as well. We're going to be finding out the ins and outs of what it's like to work for Babestation. Yeah. And answering some more of our viewers' more random questions. Including, would you rather have all of your Google searches or all of the photos on your phone made public?
That's easy for me.
I'm sure. So we'll see. But yeah, do come and join us over on redmenplus.com, where we try to give you a full rounded experience. You've got Andy Brassel, European football expert, talking about Arthur Mello, and we've got Saskia Jade talking about Babestation. You're literally not getting this broad content anywhere else in one place. So yeah, head to redmenplus.com, sign up, and we hope to see you over there. Podcast will return next week, of course, and in the meantime, let's hope Liverpool can put us all back on the right track with a good result against Napoli and then smash Wolves at the weekend. Yeah, I think so. See you all soon.
Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed that show. If you're looking to get yourself some amazing Liverpool merchandise, do go and check out redmenmerch.com. Just like this t-shirt I'm wearing and tons more. It's all available for you right now over on redmenmerch.com. Check it out.